What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Christy. We want to talk a little bit more about the series finale, Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 6. Now, we know the ending is leaked. We know all about this final episode, and we did that in a video a couple days ago. We're going to quickly go over the ending again, all the major details we know, but we also want to focus this video on if this should be remade, if Season 8 in general, or even just the final episode, should be remade or should just be done differently. We know that there's been a petition going around the internet at the time we're recording this, and it's been going up very, very fast. It's already reached 555,000 signatures, and we're recording this quite a bit before you guys actually see it. So this is a big moving thing, and it's quite a big problem, I feel. And so obviously we know the ending of this show is as follows, and again, we talked about it in the past video, but we're going to go over it really quickly. Daenerys dying from Jon, that obviously seems to be the major thing, how she has slipped into madness, how the show has handled her kind of going down that downward spiral to kind of basically just crack, obviously destroy all of King's Landing, kill all of those innocent people. That seems to be obviously the main problem. There was never necessarily a problem with Jon killing Daenerys or Daenerys dying in the end in the first place, but how they've handled it obviously is you can debate whether they've done a good job or not. And then obviously we know the back and forth of either Tyrion dying, Tyrion going on trial, them forming a council, Bran being the head of it, Bran being king. So there's a few things that are still up for debate, but the biggest question, and I guess the thing that's got this petition going, is should this entire season be remade? And in my personal opinion, and I'll go first, I'll hand it over to Christy, I'm not a fan of the whole should these things get remade idea. We saw this back with Star Wars The Last Jedi. That's really the biggest thing that I can think of, that, you know, something came out and outraged so many people, and I was actually on that side as well. I was completely outraged by The Last Jedi. Didn't think they did a good job at all. Thought they actually ruined, you know, this current trilogy of Star Wars. And, you know, we saw a lot of petitions, and we saw the kind of feedback of like, well, maybe fans can remake it, and that kind of talk like that. You know, it honestly, I feel like it does two things. Firstly, I do like that there's so many people that do stand up and say, you know what, no, this is bad, we don't like how this is going. People have really not liked this entire season in general of Game of Thrones, and we're right there with them. We think that it's been very up and down. They've missed a lot of major things that they really should have just focused in on, and they made a lot of bad choices, basically. And so I can see that, and it's great to see so many people. I'm sure by the time this is all said and done, this petition will reach over 1 million, you know, people that sign it. And, you know, the show itself and these last two episodes have gotten 14 to 16 million people watching. So, you know, 1 million people saying that they want to change it and would want to make it remade. That's a big deal. And you know, at the same time, on the other side of things, it really is just all talk. It's kind of just in a way, it's like fan fiction. In a way, it's just things that'll obviously never happen. We are never going to get a season 8, you know, part 2 or a redux. You know, that's never going to happen. The writers and the directors and the producers, they made this season. They made it what it is. They had their vision. They had their idea behind it. You have to respect that they did what they thought they needed to do, and they kind of, you know, they finished the story the way they wanted to, the way that they had started it. You know, they've done a really great job throughout all of these seasons leading up to this. It's just they've dropped the ball here. So I like it. I like that there's pushback. I like that there's so many people standing up and saying, no, you know, we're not okay with this. You know, we know that there's record people watching these episodes, but at the same time, this is not good, and you're literally ruining characters. You're ruining their arcs. You're ruining entire stories. You're ruining basically the entire series possibly with the decisions you're making, and that's not okay. So I'm glad about that. I'm happy that so many people are standing up and saying that and signing the petition. At the same time, should it be remade? I mean, yeah, I would love a redo. I would love to have them see all of this fan, you know, feedback, and you know, obviously a lot of it's criticism, but you can take it as feedback. Look at the feedback and remake season 8 and have like a do-over. That would be awesome. In a perfect world, having it go over again would be awesome. But that's, you know, that's just not the world we live in. Is there really going to be a Star Wars Last Jedi again, another episode 8? No, that'll never happen. Is there really going to be another season 8 of Game of Thrones to fix all the things they messed up? No, but it's nice to see that people are standing up. It's just never going to happen. But should it be done? I mean, I wish we lived in a world that that was possible. We do live in a world where there's changes. We see the Sonic movie, the feedback for that was pretty fierce, and they're ending up changing the character model of Sonic. We've seen video games get patched in endings and things change in their stories because people have such a problem with it. So we're in an age of kind of fixes. Maybe the directors or the writers can kind of clarify things to kind of smooth over, mistakes that they've made with us. But other than that, there's really nothing much that we can do about it. We kind of just have to sit there, watch this final episode, watch Daenerys, ultimately get killed by Jon because she slipped into madness, rightly or wrongly, depending on how you feel about it, and kind of, watch the episode and say, did episode 5 and 4 and 3, did these ruin, all of Game of Thrones? We have to just kind of take it now because of their mistakes.
So I agree with basically everything that was said, and a lot of the issues I have are just, I think that in a whole, season 8 being remade is really not possible at this point because they would have to bring back the actors, they'd have to redo everything. So realistically, it's not possible. Even actors like Kit Harington has said he will not return to Game of Thrones. And I don't blame him. I mean, the actors themselves have done wonderful. And, season 8, I don't feel like as a whole is the worst, in show history. I think it's not great. But I don't think the story plot of it is awful. It's just how they executed it, how they rushed through everything. I know that there's been signs of Daenerys slipping into madness. It makes sense. She has had her moments where, even in Marine, where she sent the masters to all be, hung up, like the children that were there. And there's been tons of examples of her slipping into madness. But at the same time, it wasn't just really her slipping into madness, it was just her getting angry. And she's, been known to go off her impulses. And I feel like that's sort of season 8 is like they took her angry off of impulses into just straight up madness, and they did it all in one episode. And they should have really kind of drawn it out a little bit. Not even just drawn it out, that sounds not the great way to put it, but they should have at least extended it a bit. It's things like the Night King, even that whole battle was just pathetic. Basically, he died in one move, and it was by Arya, who, I know she has the training for it, but it shouldn't have been her. It should have been Jon. There's a lot of examples too, like the actor behind Jaime. He even, has said that he's come out and said he's been fighting the writers about his character and everything. He didn't even like his character progression in the end, and I don't blame him. Jaime, went through this amazing character arc, honestly one of my favorite character arcs of the entire season, of the entire show really, and at the end of it he just basically threw it away, and I feel like that's just the worst. Jaime should have come out on top. He ditched his sister and proved that he was in it for the people, only for the last second to go back to his sister. It made no sense. His character arc was rising, and then it just dropped significantly. Kit Harington himself was mad that he didn't get to kill the Night King, and there was an interview where they were like, oh, he was okay with it, and then it's cut to Kit, and he was like, no, I was pissed. And it makes sense. I would be too. Look at what Jon went through all 7 seasons leading up to the Night King. He's been the one to prepare for it. He's been the one to warn everyone about it. And then he wasn't even there when the Night King died. He had no part in, he had a part in helping take down the Night King, but at the same time, did he really? No. He screamed go at the dragon so Arya could get by. But he should have been there. He should have been in that moment. It should have been a battle, not just that all the White Walkers and all the Whites just standing around and this moment just happened and he's dead. The end. It should have been a bigger moment than that. The Petition, on the other hand, everyone knows the Petition won't actually change anything. They can't actually redo the season. But I think that fans want the Petition to go up, and it's gaining insane amount of popularity because they want to kind of embarrass the writers behind Game of Thrones D&D. They want to, basically make a statement of public humiliation to just let them know that fans are mad and they don't like how they've ended this. And that's fair in my opinion because I don't like how they've ended this. There's just also a lot of mistakes made by D&D in general, in the sense that they can't pronounce a lot of their own characters' names. Like in one interview, they called me Sunday and not Missandei. That's their own character they've pronounced wrong. They forgot a lot of key elements to the story as well. For one, that King's Landing is actually supposed to be surrounded by water, but somehow the entire army could just stand at the front gates, and they even admitted they kind of forgot about it. Not to mention that their excuse for Daenerys not seeing the Iron Fleet around a mountainside was that she just kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. And what kind of excuse is that? Daenerys is in battle, in a war, and she somehow forgets about an entire army? I don't think that's likely or possible. And not to mention, I know this is a big fan favorite to talk about, but how they did Ghost wrong. It was huge. I think that honestly they made all the excuses of saying that there's not enough budget for the CGI of Ghost and everything, but that's just an excuse to say that they forgot. They just didn't want to admit that they forgot. You can tell they forgot based on season 8. When you see Ghost, he has no character interaction whatsoever. He's kind of off to the side every time. He's just slightly there, but not really there. No one touches him. No one really kind of pays him any mind. And in that scene where John looked at him, John honestly could have been looking at anyone. They just happened to put Ghost in that scene. I feel like they wrapped up production and then they were like, oh shoot, we forgot Ghost. So they just slipped him in at the last minute. And honestly, that was just a slap in the face, especially to even the Starks, because the direwolves are a huge sigil for their house. And on top of that, the direwolves have been kind of progression through the season with Jon. I mean, when Jon died the first time, Ghost sat there and guarded his body. And then they just kind of threw him out like, oh, we've got dragons now, let's forget about the dog. I just feel like a lot of issues have been happening with season 8, and I know no show is perfect, but when you've spent 7 seasons, I know a lot of people don't even think season 7 is that good, but I didn't mind season 7. But when you've spent 7 seasons going through all of this just to have it kind of rushed through and thrown away, I think it's a waste. And on top of that, HBO did offer them for the 10 episodes for this season. HBO wanted them to continue. They asked for them to continue, and D&D straight up said no. And I feel like it's because they were rushing to get to their next project, and it was kind of just a bummer for all the actors, even included. I know a lot of them say that the season is great and everything, but honestly, I don't think they even think that. I think they've been with their own characters throughout the seasons to know that their character arcs have just been utterly destroyed. For one, Brienne, who I loved Brienne's character arc. I loved how that moment she got knighted, even just to have her standing in a bathrobe crying because Jaime left. That's not Brienne. Brienne's a warrior. Why would she just sit there crying? It doesn't make any sense. Arya is the only one who's had just an amazing character progression and never been, left behind, but she's been made overpowered, and I don't think that's right either. And then they've taken Sansa, and I think Sansa's like got a love-hate with everyone. She's kind of becoming a new Cersei, and her character arc was just kind of pushed to the side too. The Hound, on the other hand, he got the straight character arc of the century. He got to die a champion, and at least they did the Hound good, because that's the only thing they've managed to do this season, was at least make the Hound go out on a high note.
So let us know what you guys think. Should this season be remade? What do you think about the petitions? What do you think about season 8 in general? We have lots of Game of Thrones content coming up on our channel. Obviously, we've talked about the leaks for this final episode, but we're also going to be reviewing the episode live right after the episode airs on Sunday. We're also going to have 3 videos next week talking about all the things that this season did wrong. We're going to be talking about the future of Star Wars as well with these D&D writers. So we got a lot of fun videos talking about the ending of Game of Thrones and what it really means in general. And we got those videos coming up next week. So let us know if there's any kind of videos you want us to do specifically, and we will definitely take a look at those. And if you guys want to go back and watch any of the past seasons, any of the past episodes of Game of Thrones, we have a link in the description below. It's a Fandango Now affiliate link. If you click that, if you buy or rent something through that, it helps us out on the channel. But you can go back and you can watch any of the old Game of Thrones episodes. They're all there for you. You can rent, buy them. You can link your Fandango points if you get the VIP points when you go see a movie. If you guys saw Avengers Endgame, you can earn points there, and you can use them. You can redeem them on Fandango Now when you rent or buy movies or TV shows. So it's a nice little thing you can do with linking them. If you guys are interested in that, definitely check out, like I said, that code in the description box below. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit that bell icon so you guys know when our Game of Thrones videos go up, and we will see you on the next video.